Welcome to Inner Earth School. This is where we learn how to move through life transitions with clarity, ease, and a deeper sense of who we really are. Welcome to the first episode. My name is Roman. I'm your co-host, and Adam will introduce himself in just a bit. For this very first episode, we thought that we allow each other to be a bit more self-indulgent. The other episodes will have more structure. We will have kind of topics that feel important to us. But today we want to introduce ourselves and give you a sense of who we are and how we came together to work at Inner Earth Limited. So Adam, why don't you do us the honors?
Thank you, brother. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this first episode of Inner Earth School, the new branch from the Inner Earth Limited company. My name's Adam Stansby. I'm I'm founder of Inner Earth and co-host and a business partner with Roman. Really excited to have you here on this first episode. Do excuse a few pauses and ums and ahs. This is our first time. We were already into like the third or fourth attempt at recording this first episode due to technical difficulties. But it's great to be here. Thanks for listening. I was a personal trainer for 15 years and a nutrition coach. I'm a hypnotherapist, a life guide. Like I said, founder of Inner Earth. I'm also a student counsellor and a psychotherapist. So very much into the world of the mind, helping people to navigate life's transitions, which is what this podcast is going to be all about, and really what the Inner Earth company is all about, helping people to explore and navigate their inner world, which is something that I'm very passionate about, and I know my co-host Roman is as well. So I'll hand back to Roman to continue with his introduction.
Yeah, hi guys. Again, welcome from me. My name is Roman Kautz. As you can possibly tell, I'm not from the UK, although half of my heart is English. But I live in Germany now. I have been in kind of transitions ever since I can remember. So working at Inner Earth Limited is kind of a calling that feels right. I think transitions are super important, but we get into that later. I love philosophy. I love the big questions of life, who we are, why we're here. You know, those questions that keep us awake at night. And yeah, ever since I formed the friendship with Adam, it was an easy yes when we decided to work together. So I'm excited of what to come. And this podcast is kind of a heart project as well. So I'm super excited to be part of it. I think we go through much more than that, Adam, but why don't you kick us off with how we met? Because that's quite a funny story.
Yeah, back in our vegan days. We'd been, I think I was a little bit of a vegan influencer a few years back. Back in 2000, I think that was like from 2015 to sort of 2020 in London. I had an Instagram account called the Plant Powered PT. I was obviously a personal trainer, very much focused on plant-based nutrition. I think we connected through my Instagram account, and then we met at an event called not Vegan Futures, Vivolution, wasn't it? And we met for the first time there. We've actually got a photo. Have you got a photo we can share? We have. Maybe we can do it in post production.
Sure. Well, you have a photo. I have the back of my head in there.
Yeah, there's my face in the back of your head. It's beautiful back of the head though.
Yeah.
So very historic event, us meeting. It was the start of a beautiful friendship that sort of started out with veganism. We're no longer either of us vegan, but it's then really gathered pace and passion and intensity when we both began to sort of explore psychedelics, plant medicines, ayahuasca, going both on our own unique trips to South America to explore this wonderful medicine. That was around, well, that must have been, back around, 2017, I guess, 2018, when we first met. So we sort of talked a lot about that, didn't we? And then, feel free to jump in whenever you like, mate, but I'll keep I'll keep unfolding, and then we've been friends for
I take the
years.
invitation.
Yeah, go for it. Jump in.
I I, I remember, and maybe this speaks a bit to my character, but meeting you was like this meeting this influencer, so I was a bit starstruck. Um, but pretty quickly, we all humans, and back in the day, I was still kind of finding my way, try to find my tribe, and I think that was why veganism came into my life. Obviously, at the essence, I don't want to say anything bad about veganism, but then the ideology behind it became kind of a bit controversial for me. But through that, we formed this friendship, and to this day, we have this very honest communication where we not only support each other, but we put each other up on things, and honesty is kind of part of the game, and even these deeper conversations that we have to explore life and what it means to have, let's go way out here, but what it means to be a spiritual being having a human experience is, you can't have that with everybody.
Mm, indeed. Yeah. Um, so I started, and then I I started Inner Earth, came through. We're going to discuss Inner Earth's origins in much deeper detail in a couple of episodes. But essentially, I started it in 2022. It's been up and down in terms of its version, and it's essentially a program, a 6-week journey of self-discovery that I created as I was transitioning myself out of my life as a personal trainer, trying to figure out what was next. And it's gone through a few different iterations since 2022. And it then became the name for my company, Inner Earth Limited, that I started last year. And then a couple of months ago, you were going through a transition. I was looking for some help. I wanted to kind of reboot what I was doing. I needed I've been looking for sort of a business partner or someone who shared my vision for years now, and wondering who that would be. And there you are, all along under my nose. Someone who shares my ideas, visions, similar life experiences, sees life very similarly. Someone I trust, respect greatly, and someone I knew doing something like this would be a lot of fun to do. And we're already having a lot of fun, even in the startup of getting this going. Um, and you were going through a transition, and so it's all quite meta in terms of the purpose of Inner Earth, the program, the Pathfinder that I've created, but also both of our interests in our own life transitions and how they've interconnected.
Yeah, and what you just said resonate with me.
I'm glad.
I've been trying for a year now. Yeah, yeah.
Who'd
What
have thought?
synchronicity?
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoa. But I also thought that, good, I want to do something on my own, something of value, something that aligns with, my core values. But if I'm really honest with myself, I always thought I can't do this on my own. I don't have this, like, this super solopreneur buzzword, but I know, but this solopreneur drive. Um, so having someone on my side who either keeps me in check, but also, supports um, the growth of ideas, I find is super important. And I'm really grateful that you allowed me to come in and do that.
Mm. Well, it's pleasure having you here, mate. Because it when you are starting these things on your own, like any budding solopreneur out there will attest to, like having to do everything, it becomes quite tiring. Having to wear all the hats, doing all the things, and I recognise I just saw through other good friends of mine who'd started businesses or who were successful that the moment they met their business partner was the moment that their sort of business took off. Two heads are better than one, right? And having someone
No
else's
pressure.
no pressure at all, someone else's perspective to share, to keep you in check, to just give you a different way of looking at things, and to share the workload ultimately as well, and I think to bring complementary skills to a process, so that you can both take charge of specific roles. It's so it's a new transition for me. It's a new transition for the business. It's really exciting. We're ending 2025, coming together, getting these first couple of episodes of this in the can, and it's setting up 2026 in a really exciting way, moving forward. So yeah, very very excited for next year, mate, and all the stuff we're going to create together.
So, look, Adam, the whole purpose of what we're doing is to help people not only, you know, remember who they are, but also help them through pivotal life transitions. Maybe now, since we're self-indulgent, maybe you'd speak to one or two transitions in your life that have shaped you and brought you closer to this place.
Thanks, brother. Yeah, I mean, I think looking back, well, I think one of the quotes, is one of my favorite quotes: "Life must be lived forwards, but can only be understood looking backwards," is kind of at the heart of this, really. Because it's only when you get to look back you can see what sort of transitions you've been on, and sometimes you're so stuck in the weeds, walking through the mud, that you forget, oh, I'm actually in the middle of a transition. And actually, if you knew that at the time, it could bring you a lot more sort of comfort, which is what I'm seeing with a lot of my own sort of hypnotherapy and counselling clients as well. My own personal transitions, I think the big one for me was leaving Ibiza in 22. I mean, so many things were going on for me at that time. My life has been full of transitions, like all of ours, but I went through three sort of fairly big ones at that time. I'd been vegan for 7 years, and I'd been a personal trainer for 15 years. I'd also been in a relationship that had broken down. So I came through the ending of a deep sort of romantic connection, and the ending of an identity wrapped in veganism, and also an identity wrapped up in personal training. And so those kind of three things converging all at a similar time was a very weighty and heavy thing to sort of go through. But it was at that time that ultimately is what gave birth to the book I wrote, and then that led to this program, to the first iteration of the Inner Earth journey of self-discovery. So yeah, I don't know if I want to go into too much detail yet. I save a bit more detail for further episodes of the whole story arc behind that creative process.
Cool.
But that was
Here's a
essentially,
book.
yeah, that was essentially I'd say one of the more recent and difficult and challenging transitions that I've been through. How about yourself, dude?
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Um, yeah, since I started working with you, I kind of, I think I read it somewhere, but in itself, our life is a transition, right? From birth to death. We look at it as a linear thing, but maybe it's not. Who knows? But we are transitioning somehow from A to B, if we keep the linear idea of it. So yeah, and this gives me a really great sense of calmness about looking at transitions now. But yeah, obviously, as you have, I've had my fair share of transitions. I'm a father of two, so each birth was a huge transition in my life. I'm still super scared to be a dad. The responsibility, the sudden amount of love that you feel in your heart is can be overwhelming at times. Add the responsibility. Um, um, but then also, those, I guess, becoming a father is one of the big ones. Um, they, it's always tough to talk about other transitions. But last year we packed our bags and moved from the UK back to Germany. That was a big transition in my life, huge changes. And it wasn't until, again, recently that I understood that any type of transition in life they are they are a blessing because they put pressure on you, and then they squeeze you, and they they show what's inside you, and this allows you to understand what has to be worked on, and how you can move forward in life, because there's only one way, right? It's step by step moving forward, no matter how bad the situation is.
Yeah, totally,
That
brother.
suddenly left such a dark overtone of this episode. I didn't mean it. I actually mean it with pleasure and love.
Well, gone from the joy of having children to the darkness that's inside. Thanks for sharing that, brother. Yeah, not having had children myself yet, I can imagine. I can only imagine what a deep transition that is for you to go from a single male or a male without any response or with less responsibilities to suddenly needing to care for others. Big transition. And one thing that was coming through as you were speaking then was I just wanted to kind of speak loosely and briefly about, one of the frameworks that I kind of use with clients and that also is embodied within the Pathfinder program, the Inner Earth sort of system, I guess, that we're looking at. And it's something called the William Bridges transition model that I read about in a book a couple of months ago as part of my counselling course. And it speaks about transitions having these three distinctive phases: the ending, the neutral zone, and then the new beginning. And that every transition begins with an ending where you need to let go of something in order to move into the next phase. And the neutral zone is where it can be full of confusion, chaos. You don't know what's next for you. You don't know what you like anymore. You don't know what's forwards, backwards, left, right. But it's also an amazing time of opportunity, and it gives you space to explore new ideas and new ways of thinking and being and living. And obviously that can be either exciting and overwhelming simultaneously. And this phase is, I think it's the scary phase where a lot of depression and anxiety can arise for a lot of people. Like once the energy of taking action to move from the ending is kind of dissipated and you find yourself in this phase where you're not really going forwards or backwards, I think that's a phase that can be really challenging, unless you bring awareness to the fact that an understanding that you are actually in a transition, and then you can start to understand what's going on for you. It doesn't always help a huge amount because you don't know how long that phase is going to last, but eventually it will change. That is the only constant in all of our lives is change, right? And that phase will eventually start to loosen, and you will then move into the new beginning, the new formation of self that's arisen from the death, I guess, of the old into the new and the rebirth. So where was I going with that? I think I just wanted to give a little bit of an overview of one of those, and for me, like speaking back to the transitions that I've been through recently, I realized that massive ending that went on in my life around 22 led to a really frustrating phase over the last 2 or 3 years of being back in the UK living at my parents', of feeling stuck, not really knowing what was next, what was forwards, what was backwards. Very frustrating. Restudying, re-educating myself to become a hypnotherapist, counsellor and psychotherapist. Gradually feeling like it was moving forward, but not really sure. But it was a good 2 years of frustration that I was having to sort of deal with. And then this year, 2025, has been the year of the new beginning for me. All of these phases, by the way, all kind of overlap into each other. It's not like there's a black and white end and beginning to each one, but this year for me has started to begin this new beginning. New profession, beautiful new relationship come into my life, totally unexpected, which is going amazingly. Shout out to Kimberly, much love her. And then of course towards the end of this year, now coming into the Inner Earth team and being my kind of co-architect and business partner with this. So for me, it's been a really beautiful start to this new beginning phase of this transition that I've gone through. So I guess that's something to sort of share with people so that they may be able to look at their own transitions they're going through to get some kind of comfort as to where they might be in that process. And I think if you have a vague idea of what you're going through and what it's leading to, then it can take a little bit of the criticism and self-judgment away from the process, and allow you to sort of transition with a little bit more clarity and ease, which of course is the meaning of Inner Earth, to help you transition with clarity and ease.
That's amazing. And I think this is a perfect place where we can land the plane. And guys, I hope you enjoyed watching this very first episode. I know that Adam said it already, but forgive us any beginners mistakes and M's and O's. We're still finding our place here, but even now we're in a transition, aren't we?
Exactly.
It would mean the world to us if you would give us a follow, maybe even hit the like button. I need to use the YouTube lingo now.
Like, subscribe, all that jazz.
Yeah, and hit the bell button.
Ding.
Yeah, but obviously there will be loads more to come moving forward. We're super excited to be working together, but even more excited to share our thoughts and what we've learned in our own lives with you guys. And we hope to see you in the next one. Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys.
Adam, any last words?
That's it now. I'm going to transition into the rest of the day.